Hi, I'm Lizzie Phillips, and this is the Networking Diaries. So today's Networking Diaries, I've been doing networking since 2007. So a long time of networking. I've got lots of networking tips and sharing of secrets and stories. This month's wonderful guest is joining us all the way from Israel, Helena Baker. She runs a great networking group called the English Speaking Networking. She's been doing that since September 2019, although I've known Helena a lot longer than that. She runs 3 groups, 80 members, and 1 international online networking group. Helena, maybe you like to explain a little bit more about, it's nice to meet another fellow networker, events networker, first of all, and hopefully you can tell us a little bit more about your networking.
Absolutely. So I was lucky enough to do your networking in England, and I guess I was what you would call a serial networker back in England. I kind of did them all, tried them all. It's really how I grew my business, and which was copywriting back in the day. I don't go near that anymore, but I was a copywriter. When I moved to Israel, my plan was to really continue networking and to grow my business that way. And what I found to be the problem was that there was a lot of networking in high tech, which is not my field, or it was in Hebrew, and my Hebrew was not very good when I arrived in Israel. It's now a little bit better, but it's still not quite there. So I decided to create my own networking group. So I created English Speaking Networking. There's lots of expats here. There's a huge community, many of whom are business owners. So I saw a gap in the market to create English Speaking Networking, which is a networking group for English speaking business owners looking to gain more clients. And we launched in Tel Aviv, which is like the center city of Israel. We then expanded to Yerushalayim and Herzliya. And then COVID hit, which is obviously was an interesting experience for a face-to-face networking group. And that just caused a lot of change, a lot of online. And now I have an online international group where we have business owners from right around the world joining to network, and predominantly America, Israel, and England.
Wow, that's quite a lot of info there, Helena, in one here. So let's go back to you mentioned COVID. You mentioned the dreaded C word. Yeah. So I'm actually suffering with a cold today as well, as you probably tell by my husky voice. So COVID, we've kept in touch throughout the years, and how on earth did you feel when things were progressing globally? How did you kind of deal and take on the challenge of doing networking during a pandemic?
So initially, I didn't deal with it very well at all, to be honest. Basically, my business was launched in October 2019, and then COVID hit in March. So I was about 6 months into the business, and I did not think the business would survive, to be perfectly honest with you. Back in the day, online networking was not a thing. Like, it was not something that was done. Now we think of it as very normal, but like, I was part of one online networking group, which is very poorly run. It was very just not great quality, but apart from that, it just didn't really exist. I think people kind of forget that now. So essentially, when COVID kind of hit, I just paused all the meetings. I didn't really know what to do. I just paused everything. And then I did some free online networkings, which I'm really glad that I did that on reflection, because what it allowed me to do is really understand how networking online can work, how it can help people grow their business, what the right tools are. And then we went back fully face-to-face in about June, July time, when everything in Israel opened up fully. We went from kind of full lockdown down to open, which was a very odd decision, but anyway. So I went back face to face, and we restarted all the memberships and kind of reopened, as it were. And then, even though the law actually said we could continue face to face, I no longer felt comfortable doing that, because the numbers in Israel got so high. I mean, they were, and obviously there's no vaccine yet. So we then went back online. I changed the payment structure slightly so it's a bit cheaper for people, moved everything online. And they basically were online for almost a year. We only started going back face to face again it was about 4 months ago. I'm confused with date. but it was quite recent. And interestingly, only Tel Aviv went back face-to-face fully. Jerusalem and Herzliya said, we don't want to go back face-to-face. We like online networking. And every 6 weeks in Jerusalem and Herzliya, I have a face-to-face meeting, but apart from that, it's always online, which I was very, very surprised by. I thought people would want to go back face-to-face. That was absolutely not the case. So online networking has really worked very well. But it was, I would say it was a journey for me to get to a place where I really understood how to do it properly. And I genuinely remember for the first 2 weeks when COVID hit, thinking my business is over and I've just wasted 6 months and I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I was in a dark place, but it's all good now, thankfully.
Yeah.